I have here for you potentially the saddest press conference of the year, definitely the saddest press conference of now former Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy's career. And I want to walk through some clips. He tries to indicate that he has some dirt on Matt Gaetz as a little bit of revenge and many other things that we'll get to. But first, I want to show you him incoherently trying to make this his own ouster by members of his own party. Yes, technically Democrats weren't going to come in and save him, but the reason he was ousted is because his own party is in a state of chaos and hardliners that he tried to placate. He tried to give things to make them happy. Oh, here's an impeachment inquiry. Still wasn't enough. And so this is in large part on him and his own party completely. And still, he tried to make it about Democrats and something about January 6th and the January 6th investigation. Huh?
My God. No, but do I regret the Democrats playing games with January 6th? Yes. They played so many politics. What they did to this
They played so many politics, whatever that means.
Institution, and what they did to this building was so wrong. The idea that they put magnetometers there, the idea that they would go to any Republican member that they had been co-sponsors of bills and they no longer could be a co-sponsor, that they would fine members $5,000 if the magnetometers went on, but when Nancy went around it or Clyburn was supposed to get a fine, it all got waived. The idea that bills didn't have to go through committee, the idea is they created a select committee on January 6th and they wouldn't let the minority appoint who to do it. Look at.
Actually, you rejected the attempt by trying to put radical individuals who were a part of the very telling of lies that caused January 6th, and you try to put them on the bipartisan committee. So then they had to go and make an independent commission outside of a shared governance agreement. And that's what happened there. The magnetometers point, there was a concern, rightfully so, based on the very words being spoken by people such as Lauren Boebert and at the time Madison Cawthorn about being armed, that maybe right after January 6th, and there's a concern as to who was directly involved, who was indirectly involved, and things are very unsafe at this point in time. Let's make sure that members who brag about being armed aren't armed going into the Capitol. Seems reasonable enough to me. Then you have him indicating, I have a little bit of dirt on Matt Gaetz, and this might push me over the edge, I guess, to release it.
Not a conservative. Look, you all know Matt Gaetz. You know it was personal. It had nothing to do about spending. It had nothing to do about everything he accused somebody of he was doing. It all was about getting attention from you. I mean, we're getting email fundraisers from him as he's doing it. Join in quickly. That's not governing. That's not becoming of a member of Congress. And regardless of what you think, I've seen the text. It was all about his ethics. But that's all right.
What text, Kevin? Reveal. Tell us. Now, it is interesting and a little bit satisfying, even though I wish we could have a more effective governing party and leader of that party. But it is a little bit satisfying that now he's becoming a victim of the very ideology that he helped become so prominent within his party. He allowed for and rooted on at different times and tried to, again, placate this very ideology, this very way of approaching governance, where everything is about the clicks, everything is about the social media attention and the interviews and the fundraising. And that is what MAGA now goes for so aggressively. That's what they love from their leaders. That's why Marjorie Taylor Greene is so influential and prominent within this part of the party, and Matt Gaetz. And Kevin McCarthy thought he could use that to his advantage and could use this part of the party to keep himself in power. But eventually, the monster's going to come after you too, Kevin. And that's exactly what happened. Then he gets asked, is there anything you could have done differently with the 8 members who voted within his party to oust him?
And when you look back, is there anything you could have done differently to what those 8 members?
Yeah, a lot of them I helped get elected, so I probably should have picked somebody else.
So he's giggling, but yeah, you should have. Way back when this MAGA hardliner, Trump-influenced unserious governance-oriented part of the party became more and more prominent. You should have made it your mission, as Liz Cheney did and Adam Kinzinger did, but they didn't have enough support to push out of the party, reject this hardcore MAGA part of your party. But people like Kevin McCarthy, again, didn't go along with, didn't unite with people like Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, Mitt Romney, and others, and allowed for this to become so prominent. And while, like I said yesterday, this vote wasn't directly about Trump, it was a product of, a characteristic of that unserious MAGA type version of Republican. And McCarthy could have at least tried to prevent that a long time ago. Then this was a really strange response from him to the question of, will you even remain in Congress?
I look forward to your positive questions. Yes.
Will you remain in Congress?
Well, I'll look at that.
I'll look at that. If he drops out of Congress, if he resigns from Congress because he can't be Speaker of the House, quite the reflection on his commitment to actually serving the American people. If I can't be Speaker, I don't want to be in Congress at all. And then just last kind of outgoing message from him.
Doing the right thing isn't always easy, but it is necessary. I don't regret standing up for choosing governance over grievance. It is my responsibility. It is my job. I do not regret negotiating. Our government is designed to find compromise. I don't regret my efforts to build coalitions and find solutions. I was raised to solve problems, not create them. So I may have lost a vote today, but as I walk out of this chamber, I feel fortunate to have served the American people. I leave the speakership with a sense of pride, accomplishment, and yes, optimism.
His breathing is funny. And yes, optimism. Okay. So very interesting moment. If you're feeling bad for him for some reason, because it is true, it seems like his negotiating at the last moment to prevent the government from shutting down with Democrats maybe pushed the hardliners over the edge. And that was correct for him to do, to negotiate with Democrats to keep the government funded. And so if it was just about that, then you could understand people going, shoot, now he's being ousted. But remember who Kevin McCarthy is. Liz Cheney pointed that out in this clip.
I think it's important to say that, Kevin began in those days on January 6th and the days after January 6th. He seemed to understand how grave and dangerous this was. But I don't know that there's anybody more responsible for rehabilitating Donald Trump and the danger that he presents than Kevin McCarthy, because the month of January wasn't even out, and Kevin went to Mar-a-Lago basically to rehabilitate Donald Trump. I think it's important to say.
Right. So there's no need to feel bad for Kevin McCarthy, obviously. This is the monster he helped create. If you try to adopt, because you think it would look cool, a pet tiger, eventually you're going to get bitten. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show and get a bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.